Breaking news now on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Well, we're still following the breaking news out of Toronto tonight. A Delta passenger plane crashed and flipped over while landing at the Pearson International Airport this afternoon. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Hart.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. We just got an update on some of the injuries. We know at least 19 people are hurt, including a child, and 2 adults have critical injuries. The airport right now is only saying there was a serious incident at landing. The Delta Airlines plane was coming from Minneapolis, but it flipped over.
All arrivals and departures are shut down right now. We're monitoring the situation closely, and we'll have more updates within the hour.
We all had to put in the elbow grease today to get the ice and snow off the cars. There it is. We're still cleaning up after Saturday's winter storm. Brought snow and freezing rain. It took down trees and power lines. And as we speak, Eversource is getting the lights back on for thousands of customers. One Waterbury neighborhood was trapped on their street after the storm ripped down a tree, which brought down the power lines and then blocked the road. Fox 61's Jamel Johnson has reaction from homeowners.
It was around 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon when a tree came crashing down on Harker Avenue. It not only took away people's ability to leave, but it took away their power, too.
It was like an earthquake.
That's how Philip Cooper describes the moment when he heard this tree fall down right in front of his house. An earthquake wasn't the only way he'd recount the events on Sunday afternoon.
Right before it fell, it was like a tornado. It must have been wind shear. It came straight down, and it just took the tree right out, broke it right in half.
It was a moment he always knew might be coming.
I knew this was going to happen. I just knew it. You could hear it creak, the tree creaking and stuff, and I'm like, that tree's going to go. And bang.
Down came the tree and all the power in the neighborhood.
We have no internet, no power, no phones, no nothing.
When Francis Arelli's thermostat kept dropping, he knew something was up.
I noticed the temperature was dropping from 64 to 62 to 60. I said, oh. So I knew I wasn't going to have heat. I was probably in the mid to high 30s, I would guess. And not much warmer than out here.
Homeowners are fortunate that the damage wasn't worse.
My neighbor over there, Michelle, talked to her this morning, and she was thanking God that it didn't hit her house, because it would have destroyed her house.
Now, I was here as crews cleaned up the street and got this tree over to the side, out of harm's way, where people can now drive up and down this neighborhood safely. In Waterbury, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
You're currently looking at the Eversource website right now. As they work, they're updating the numbers of homes without power and how many lights still have to be turned back on. So lots of people without power right now. Those winds are sticking around for the night. It is going to get cold.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank here now with the first check of the forecast. Rach, I know the winds are diminishing, but they're not going away, and we're talking especially some really cold wind chill temperatures.
Yeah, the wind chill will get down near and maybe even below zero for some communities as we head into tomorrow. And yes, I think the worst of the wind is over by this point. I don't expect any additional wind damage, and I think that any crews can kind of go up there and fix any of those down power lines that are out there, and we thank them for that work to try to keep the lights on. But we are seeing gusts up to around 30 miles an hour in Windham, 29 miles an hour in Waterbury. The wind advisory has now been allowed to be canceled in the southern half of the state. It's in effect for 1 more hour for the northern half of the state. But again, I think the worst is over by this point. But as we mentioned, it's still breezy, and just a little bit of wind coupled with falling temperatures means we're dealing with those wind chills near zero. It's also just plain old cold as we head through the next couple of days, with highs in the 20s, about 10 plus degrees below average for this time of year. Some snow showers to the north of us. We did have a few flakes out there earlier today. Right now we're in the 20s, near 30 for the Connecticut shoreline. And here's a look at that wind chill. We're down into the single digits as we head towards the news at 10 and 11. And look at this, feels like 3 in Hartford by 7 a.m. and certainly feels like below zero for areas like Torrington and and Waterbury, and actual low temperatures will be in the teens as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. Breezy, chilly as we head through the afternoon, highs in the 20s. We'll see clearing skies heading into tomorrow night, and we'll talk more about what we're seeing with a storm that we've been monitoring for Thursday. Looks like it's going to miss. We'll talk about what we're seeing in the latest trends coming up.
We're following up on the stabbing deaths of a 19-year-old woman and a 2.5-year-old little boy in West Haven.
It happened over the weekend. Fox 61's Emma Wolforst has the latest from West Haven Police.
Yeah, the family of the young woman killed Saturday night says she was hardworking, dedicated, and kind.
We started receiving phone calls from tenants in the area apartments claiming a woman is screaming for help.
According to West Haven police, around 8:50 Saturday night, they received several 911 calls reporting screaming and yelling from an apartment at 430 Malloy Road.
Then we get a phone call stating that somebody just jumped through the window outside the second floor.
When officers arrived at the apartment, they found a 19-year-old woman and a 2.5-year-old boy dead from multiple stab wounds. The male who jumped from the window was injured and taken to an area hospital for treatment. While West Haven PD has not officially released the names of the two victims, the family of the young woman identified her online. Haley Miller's loved ones say she had a bright spirit, full of kindness and unwavering love. Miller was the mother of a young son who was not present when she was killed. Her family started this GoFundMe page to cover her funeral expenses and support her son. They wrote, quote, Haley Miller tragically lost her life at the age of 19, leaving her family and toddler son behind far too soon. They described her as, quote, a hardworking mother, always looking to further her education and career, adding, quote, she was dedicated to giving her son the best life possible, a life filled with love and care. As of Monday afternoon, the page received more than 300 donations with over $16,000 raised. While many questions remain unanswered, police do say a suspect is in custody and there is no threat to the public. They could not confirm whether the man who jumped from the second-story window of the apartment building was that suspect, but Allard said it's looking like it.
Now, police say this is still an ongoing investigation, but they hope to release more information to the public, including the name of the suspect, in the coming days. For now, reporting in West Haven, Emma Wolforst, Fox 61.
We do want to let you know about an error we reported last night and this morning about that story. We showed you video of a nearby apartment sign in our report, but that apartment, VIP Apartments, is not connected to this case in any way. So we do apologize for the video error. Again, VIP Apartments in West Haven is not connected with the case.
We have new video tonight from the Office of Inspector General showing the moments a suspect shot and injured a Waterbury police officer. It happened last Thursday night while police were investigating several armed carjacking attempts. Tonight we're laying out what led up to the shooting. Thursday, February 13th, 8:30 p.m. Waterbury police get a call for an attempted carjacking on Waterville Street. The caller reports 3 masked men with a gun tried to steal their car, but the person was able to drive away. The caller told police the masked men were in a white Ford SUV. 20 minutes later, police get a second complaint of an attempted carjacking, this time on Chase Avenue. The caller told police the suspects were driving a white Ford Explorer and took his keys at gunpoint. The next report was of 3 people trying to break into a vehicle on America Street. When Sergeant Stephen Martin and Detective Ronald Sackett got there, they spotted a white Ford Explorer. A neighbor told police 3 people ran toward a home on Claremont Avenue. You can see from this Ring camera video released by investigators, 2 people run alongside the house. One of them escapes and one stays behind. The Office of Inspector General says that's Arian Perez Feliciano, armed with a gun, equipped with a laser. You can see the gunman get into a shooting stance before he fires and runs away. Here's another angle from Detective Sackett's body cam. As he turns the corner to the back of the house, investigators say he comes face to face with Perez Feliciano before he is shot and officers return fire.
I'm hit!
Now, the report says Perez Feliciano shot Detective Sackett through his upper leg. Perez Feliciano was not hurt. He is charged with attempted murder, assault on a police officer, and other charges. The other 2 suspects, 18-year-old Sidney Reed and 19-year-old Alberto Rodriguez, are facing several robbery and weapons charges. And Detective Sackett was released from the hospital on Friday and is recovering tonight. The investigation is ongoing, and we'll update you when we get a final report.
At the Capitol this afternoon, demonstrators rallied for the national Not My President's Day protest. This is 5051's second protest this month. So the group's name stands for 50 protests in 50 states, all in one day. The movement is against President Donald Trump and his, quote, destructive policies. That's what they call him. And Fox 61 spoke with two protesters. These two women just met today and have since bonded over the movement.
We're all Connecticut residents. We all
want to be
people.
neighbors.
We're all human. And
I'd like to drop all the animosity.
Yeah, there's no reason for people like our trans family members are no different than anyone else. And what they do doesn't affect anyone else. So the fact that they're focusing on that to divide us is what really upsets me.
Democracy is not something to be negotiated or bargained over.
Many also told us that they're against Elon Musk and his involvement in the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE. Fairfield Democrats helped organize protests in Hartford, New Haven, Old Saybrook, New London, and Mystic.